Welcome to an overview of APA-style citations presented by the Regent Writing Lab. Here's a brief disclaimer. The professor has the final word on all style manual requirements for the class. The policy of the Writing Lab is to refer students to their professor, their course syllabus, and their style manual. APA designates that all source information discussed in the work must be cited in two places, in an in-text parenthetical citation and in a references list. All source material cited within the work must appear in both places. This means that works cited in text must appear in the references list, and the references list only contains works cited in text. As an exception, classical works, such as the Bible, are cited only in text and not within the references list, but we will talk about that more within the next few slides. When citing in text, there are two ways to cite a source in a parenthetical citation. The first narrates the author and year at the beginning of the sentence and puts the page number at the end of the sentence. For example, Williams, parentheses, 2010, parentheses, stated, comma, quote, "It is good to write clearly," quote, parentheses, page 2, parentheses, period. If paraphrasing that information, one would say, Williams, parentheses, 2010, parentheses, discussed style, period. The second way is to include the author, year, and page number in a parenthetical citation at the end of the sentence. For example, most writers recognized that, quote, "It is good to write clearly," quote, parentheses, Williams, comma, 2010, comma, page 2, parentheses, period. If one were paraphrasing that information, one would say, in writing, comma, style is an essential element, parentheses, Williams, comma, 2010, parentheses, period. As a reminder, APA style prefers paraphrases over direct quotes, so use your direct quotes sparingly. Here are examples of APA in-text citations, both at the beginning of a sentence and at the end of a sentence. Classical and religious works are cited at the end of a quotation. For example, the author of John records that, quote, Jesus wept, quote, parentheses, John 11:35, comma, New International Version, parentheses, period. Note, the Bible is not listed in the references list. Hence, the version is included in the parenthetical citation. If you are only using one translation, spell that translation out the first time you cite it, and in subsequent citations, you will only include the book, chapter, and verse. For example, parentheses, Luke 14:14, parentheses. If you are using more than one translation, spell out each translation the first time you use it, and then in subsequent citations, you will include the book, chapter, verse, and translation abbreviation. For example, parentheses, Luke 14:14, comma, NIV, parentheses. All reference entries within a references list must be double-spaced with a hanging indent, list entries alphabetically by the author's last name, first initial, and publication year, and include information recording the type of source, such as book, journal article, website, etc. Regardless of the type of source, all reference entries include author's name, year of publication, title, either that of a book, journal article, journal, etc., and publication or retrieval information. Here is an example of an APA-formatted references list. Notice the title references is centered on the first line, is capitalized, and is not bolded. Reference entries are alphabetized according to the first author's last name and utilize a hanging indent structure. If you need more assistance with APA style, the Regent Writing Lab recommends the following two websites. Thank you for making the most out of your Regent experience.